So, what tools, tips and tricks do I use to research my big photography travels abroad, expedition-style camping trips up in the mountains, or short trips around my home, at my local park, and so on? So stay tuned for that. Also, welcome to 2023. Now, when it comes to my trips, there are basically two types of them, planned and unplanned. Unplanned, as the name suggests, is basically just that, a spontaneous trip that I just go somewhere without too much planning, without too much thought put into it. I might look up weather, basic area on a map where I'm going, what to expect, and that's pretty much it. And the idea is basically to allow myself be surprised, to allow the place, the environment where I'm going is to basically show me what it has, all the images, all the possible compositions, and I just go around and try to photograph what I see as I go along. The second type, planned, means that I have a specific area in mind, specific image or a subject, composition, what have you, and it involves a lot more planning, a lot more research. I need a specific, probably lighting, specific atmospheric conditions, and so on. And when it comes to research and planning, there are several different tools that I use, and I sort of put them in 4 different categories, which are maps, weather, all the photo sharing apps and websites, and the fourth one is what I call Uncategorised, which basically contains different types of tools and applications that are sort of very niche, and I use them sparingly. And I'll go through each one of them separately. Also, I'm going to provide all the links in the description below so that you can use for your own research as well. Now, when it comes to all the map applications and the other web tools that I use for my trips, there are several of them, and generally they depend on my goals and requirements that I have. And the 2 most common ones that I use are going to be of no surprise to anyone, which is Google Maps and Google Earth. They're very convenient, free to use, and perfect for a general scouting of the area that you're going to. And with a Street View feature, you are sort of able to teleport yourself into that area and see how it's going to look like, are there any potential images and compositions, and so on. Now, although both tools are great for, I would say, 99% of the time, they're definitely not perfect. And I guess nothing is in this life, as always. And the main downside of these 2 tools is a rather limited resolution of the maps themselves. Now, when I need to use a map with a little bit better resolution than what Google can provide me, I have 2 other sources of maps that are really great. They have a little bit better resolutions, and they are, and let me read because I'm going to mess that one up for sure, which is one is Esri ArcGIS World Imagery and USGS Earth Explorer. Now, unless you have your own sort of spy satellite in the sky, or you are unwilling to pay really big money to get satellite imagery from the companies like Maxar, then I suspect the aforementioned tools are going to be your best high-res images that you can get for free. There are a couple more tools that I would like to include in this video, and that is AllTrails and the OS Maps. AllTrails is a perfect website for planning your trips, and it's more geared towards hikers, but that shouldn't discourage you from using it. I think it's great for all the travel, landscape and adventure photographers, because at the end of the day we still do a lot of hiking, and having ability to have a map and plan your route as to where you're going, even if you're going on an adventure, I think it's a perfect tool. And it also has this fantastic feature where you can post your images, and there are images of other users of this website where you can go look through them and sort of get the vibe for the place that you are going to. Another tool that I mentioned is OS Maps. Now, it is a UK's government-run ordnance survey service, and it's a great tool for planning your trips, but unfortunately it is for United Kingdom only. So if you're based in another country, you're gonna have to go out on the internet and see if there is a similar mapping agency in your country. I'm sure other countries have similar services as well, like American USGS or France's IGN or something like that. So yeah, you're gonna have to do a little bit of digging. Okay, so I talked a lot about maps and all that good stuff, and now it's time to talk about another, probably no less important category of tools that I use in my research, and that is all the weather applications. Obviously, the weather plays a crucial role in what we as photographers do, so I guess it's a good thing to know and predict what the Mother Nature is going to throw at us once we head out in the field. As we all know, weather is a notoriously difficult thing to predict, and it doesn't always play ball with us, so I guess it is a wise thing to have several different apps and tools to use and cross-check different weather forecasts to see what is the most likely thing to happen once we go out to do our job. Now, when it comes to weather forecasting, there are several apps that are my favorites, and I use them all the time to cross-check what's going to happen when it comes to weather, and that is Met Office, Windy, Ventusky, Clear Outside, and Weather Underground. All of them are really great tools, and they really complement each other where one of them lacks in detail or functionality. Now, another website that I use is a mountain weather information service, and again, as with OS Maps, it's a UK specific service, and it's really great to look up the weather and the weather forecast in the mountainous areas, because as we all know, the weather in mountains can change frequently, and it might be quite different from what it is in lowlands, so it's a fantastic tool. And as I said, because it's UK based, you're gonna have to again look up something similar in your country if you have like mountains in your area where you live. Now, looking up the weather is all well and good, but sometimes that isn't enough. Sometimes what you want to do is to have a real-time information as to what's going on in the area of your interest. You sort of want to get a glimpse of real-time situation as to where you're going. And for that purpose, I think it's a good idea to sort of go on the internet and Google if that area has a webcam somewhere around. And generally, obviously, not all areas are going to have a dedicated webcam somewhere online. Generally, that's true of ski resorts, all sorts of hotels in the mountainous areas and things like that, around lakes and stuff like that, where you can check the amount of snow cover and all of that cool stuff. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind. All right, I think it's getting a little bit dark, so I guess I'm gonna have to hurry up because the daylight is fading quite quickly. So let's move on. So we've covered two categories of mine, which is maps and weather that I use to research my trips. And I guess it's time to talk about the third category, which is all the photo sharing apps and websites, where you can go and look through the myriad of other people's pictures for inspirations to research and look for new compositions, new images, new subjects, find new places that you didn't know existed before, and all of that cool stuff. Now, among all of these available tools, websites, and apps, my favorite would be, to no one's surprise, Instagram, 500px, Flickr, Getty Images, and the new kid on the block would be Vero, which is really great. It's kind of new one, and a lot of people kind of flocking there because they're disappointed in Instagram. But I think all of these tools are fantastic for typing in the location or a specific subject of your interest, and going through all the tons and tons of images and looking up and see if there is something that catches your eye. Fantastic tools for sort of virtually scouting your area of interest. All right, and my last category is unoriginally called Uncategorised, and here lives various apps and websites that don't really neatly fit into any previous category, and these are all sorts of specialist, niche, and sometimes really used tools. And among them are the tools like Photo Ephemeris, Photo Pills, which are fantastic tools at looking up the timing of sunset, sunrise, blue hour, all of that cool stuff when you go out in the field to do photography. Other tools are like Flight Radar. It's really useful to look up all the planes that are in the air, where they're landing, when they're taking off, and so on, because I really do like to do sometimes aviation photography, so it's really helpful tool to look up when the planes are coming in on when they're taking off. Really helpful. Other tools are like DarkSight and Light Pollution Map, and these two tools are especially useful if you are into astrophotography, night photography, all of that stuff, and you really want to know where are the dark sites. You want to go far away from the cities and where all the dark sky locations are located in your country and all across the globe. Really fantastic tool. Other tool that I use is called Easy Tide, that I use to predict when the tides are coming in and coming out. Really useful if the idea that I have in mind to photograph has something to do with the ocean, some seascape or something like that, it really helps to know when the water is coming in and coming out. Now, a couple of other tools that I would like to mention as well are, I think, really important, especially if you're going into the mountainous areas, and that would be European Avalanche Warning Service or Scottish Avalanche Information Service or something like that. I'm gonna put the links below, obviously, and they're really useful tools if you're going to the mountains to do some skiing or camping or something like that, and there is a lot of snow. You definitely wanna be in the know if there is any danger of having avalanches and things like that. So definitely a wise thing to look that up. All right, so these are all the tools that I use to research various aspects of my trips, travels, adventures, and all of that good stuff. Hopefully you're going to find this information useful. Definitely use it to your own advantage while researching your own projects and travels and adventures. And I guess it's time to wrap up. It's getting too dark. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful. And if so, then do consider subscribing, share, drop a comment, do all of that cool stuff. And I'll see you on the next one next week. Peace.